Hi friends, welcome back. So Scott Shafer finally released his video on popular finance YouTuber Caleb Hammer, and we've been anticipating this for the last couple of weeks. You can actually find the video on Scott's channel, but it's entitled Caleb Hammer Might Sue Me for This Video. It's a crazy title.
Caleb Hammer might sue me for this video, and that isn't clickbait at all. He's already threatened legal action against me multiple times before I even released this video, simply for looking into a story he doesn't want covered and not immediately accepting his point of view. Now to me that seems very suspicious and almost like Caleb didn't want me to find something, and spoiler alert, yes, I found some very interesting pieces of information we'll be discussing later in the video.
But unfortunately it is a crazy situation, and every time I guess Scott reaches out to Caleb about, asking for Caleb's side of the story, Caleb threatens to sue, which is really bizarre behavior, guys, especially if you're innocent, so there's that. From what I can tell, at least 3 people have contacted Scott. There's like a Zeke person, then there's an anonymous person who I guess is a close contact, personal friend or whatever, who knows it. Someone just knows Caleb really well, and then a 3rd person that's been on Caleb's show. I'll start with this. When you deal with Caleb's community, and something that Scott had mentioned as well, and something one of Caleb's guests have mentioned, is that they can be very aggressive, and they'll threaten to dox you and say lots of mean things, etc. And part of, I think, why it's important that Scott made the video and also commenting, at the end, is that the content that you put out and the community that you create, right? This is something that you're responsible for. Now, whether or not you're responsible for all of the actions of your fans, right? That's a different thing, but you are responsible for the community that you are creating. Guys, I do this thing every single day, this thing being YouTube, and there's certain things you do and you don't do. Now, here's the thing though, is that in the world that we live in today with many of the young people, they think that making money is like the only thing that matters, and that that's the most important thing in the whole world, right? So that means, for example, you make fun of your guests, you put out crazy thumbnails, whatever, and people are like, oh yeah, I gotta click on that and make fun of said person and look how dumb they are, ha ha ha, right? Like that's the kind of community that you're creating. Now Caleb will make the case that people are agreeing to the said thumbnails, etc. But, which is really interesting in Scott's video, one of the people said that she took pictures with Caleb, right? So they did the photos, but I guess she didn't have the final approval of what the thumbnail ended up being, and then Caleb put out this thing that like puts her in a prison suit, and then I think it said like scum on it or something like that, like really inappropriate. He does a lot of inappropriate things over there, and moreover, guys, as Scott pointed out, and I've talked about this before on my channel as well, Caleb is a music person, right, and has no business talking about financial stuff. He's also not trained to be a counselor, and this is actually part of the thing that Caleb's doing, is like talking to people in person and giving him like personal advice, like regular advice, and he's not trained in any of the number of these things. So you guys can be the judge of that, if that's good or not. My point of view on this stuff is that this kind of thing is rampant on YouTube, meaning that, I'll give you a simple example. You have dudes like on YouTube, it's not just dudes, you get dudes and dudettes, backward baseball hats, gold chains, the whole bit, and hyping people up on whatever dog coins, etc. And like, obviously those kind of people have no business giving that kind of advice, but that's part of the YouTube world that we're in. It's like the Wild West. So it's like crazy people giving advice to crazy people. Guys, I get it. But the thing is that you have to remember, in the environment that we're in, you're also filled with, people who are, what's your opinion on Star Wars? What's your opinion on video games? These kind of things. And so for many people, it's all a joke for many people. Also too, for many people, the end game is all about just getting as many likes and views as you possibly can, regardless of what that does to the world. What kind of output are you putting out there? This is why, sort of, guys, when I talk with you about this stuff, is that be responsible for the stuff that you're doing and be aware of what you're doing, because it does have ramifications to the world, and also to karma. Now, talking about like Caleb's stuff in particular, the thing that really stood out to me was the whole like chat messaging stuff. If you guys saw the video, you'll saw that Caleb was part of some sort of music group, and was posting really inappropriate stuff about minors, which is just not cool. Not cool, Caleb, not cool. Also too, I guess Caleb put out like putting like pornographic images in also said chat group, and everyone in the group's like, yo, not cool. And again, you guys, you can watch Scott's video if you want to see exactly kind of more descriptions of that stuff, but there's just certain things that you don't do. However, if you watch Caleb's channel and you see Caleb's demeanor, I guess, and people have actually wrote this in comments and said that if you watch Caleb's show enough, you'll see a lot of sexual innuendo. That's just what people have been telling me. So I'm not shocked by these things, because you put that together with the recording that we have of like Caleb talking about like to one of his, guests about, hey, you should, do OnlyFans, and that was in the voice recording. When I first heard it, it was like so ridiculous. I'm like, oh my God, is this even real? Like I was just giving Caleb the benefit of the doubt. But when you listen to the tape further, and then you also put it together with everything else, and also too, Caleb himself hasn't denied it, so I'll just take it as that, as it's authentic, is that it just paints an overall picture of this guy. He makes bad decisions. There's no other way to put it, right? And so the craziest thing about this is that you have this guy who makes bad decisions. I mean, there's no way to defend it, but people do. That's what's crazy. People in Caleb's community actually defend the guy and be like, oh, well, you're taking it out of context. If you put it in context, then it's okay to be involved with OnlyFans and like offering people, that kind of sex work, essentially. The thing that's also crazy about this, and I think Scott did a good job in his video, was like, just think of it this way. What if, talking about the Dave Ramsey show, what if someone called in the Dave Ramsey show and be like, Dave, I can't pay for my car payment and I'm behind on my mortgage, what should I do? And Dave's like, hey, how about starting an OnlyFans? And if you do this, you get more money. If you do this, you get more money. Like, think how crazy that would be. Now, this is the thing of why I started this, video talking about, hey, keyboard warriors, get out from your keyboard, is that what the crazy thing is, though, in Caleb's community, people actually defend the guy, right? Saying, oh, well, it's out of context. He can do OnlyFans if he wants. I'm like, what are you talking about? So you have, all of these things going around, and I just think it paints an overall picture. Now, did Caleb do anything illegal, right? That's a question. I think it's a legitimate question. From what I can tell, at least what Scott has presented, not necessarily, right? So it's not necessarily anything illegal. Should Caleb sue Scott Shafer? I would say probably not. I don't see anything that Scott's doing wrong. Scott's reaching out to Caleb and saying, hey, what's your opinion on stuff? What's your side on said stuff? And Caleb just says, like, I'm gonna sue you. Like, that's kind of weird. I guess Scott got an email from Caleb's lawyer, and the lawyer just like said, don't disclose the contents of said email. So who knows what was said in that? I'll let you guys be the judge of that. But overall, like, how can I say, nothing's really surprising here, just more that Scott has the evidence to back it up, and I don't think Scott has done anything inappropriate. And if Caleb does indeed sue, which I doubt he will, I think a lot of stuff is just talk. I don't think Caleb has any particular case. Now, where does Caleb's channel go from here? His fan base are essentially into bullying people, so maybe they're completely unfazed by it. Who knows? I want to hear from you. What do you think? I've already expressed my opinion on Caleb several times in several videos. I just want to share my opinion on the Scott video that just came out, and I just think as an overall thing, it's not good, and it's not a good look, and that's all I have to say about that. So thanks for watching, everyone. I want to hear your thoughts as well, and I'll catch you in the next video.